Welcome everybody to today's Adelaide HubSpot user group. For today, we have a very special guest all the way from Sydney.
Yep.
Yes. You don't know these days. People work from home and remote and whatever.
I wish I was in Bali.
Lily Watkins from Aircall. And so today is going to be all about calling in HubSpot. So we're going to have a look at HubSpot calling and what it does and how it works. We're going to have a look at Aircall calling and what it does and how it works, and just really help you identify what the right calling solution is for your purposes. As with every hug that we do, any questions that you've got, put them in the chat. We'll try and make this as interactive as possible. So if you've got questions that you want to ask as we go, throw them in the chat. We'll stop and we'll go through them, unless we're about to go through that exact question that you've got, in which case we might ask you to hold 5. But otherwise, you're going to kick us off, Lily. Congratulations.
Sure am. So hello, everyone. Little bit of background on who I am and why I'm here. I'm from Aircall, but I'm a partner manager. So I work directly with the HubSpot sales org. I work with the AEs, CSMs, whole team really. And then I work with HubSpot channel partners like the lovely Ryan Jones from Refuel. So yeah, happy to be here. Kicking it off, just gonna can I share my screen? Yes, I can. Cool. Alrighty. Cool. So we've done some intros, bit of an agenda. So really first just want to touch on why calling still matters. Naturally with AI, chatbots and everything, there's a lot of noise out there today. So it's important to kind of just take a step back, look at the importance of calling. And then Ryan will jump into some of the HubSpot calling functionalities and features. I'll take over from there, get you all across Aircall, and then we'll more or less have a conversational chat about what it really comes down to when you are looking to choose the right tool for your team. And then we'll end it with some Q&A. Cool. So calling, it's been around for quite some time now, but even in a digital first world, calling as a channel still does remain really critical, and it's for obvious reasons. If you've got a complex or emotionally charged situation, people naturally still prefer human interaction for a couple of reasons. It delivers trust, empathy, and you tend to reach a real-time resolution at a lot more speed, you could say, when you're actually speaking to someone. So rather than being replaced by digital, calling should be seen almost as a complementary additional channel as part of that seamless customer journey. So just a couple of quick stats here. Recent studies found that 69% of customers still prefer human support for complex or sensitive issues. Phone remains the fastest channel for first contact resolution. For complex or high value sales, phone conversations remain essential to building trust and progressing deals. And lastly, businesses with a strong voice channel report 16% higher customer satisfaction and 19% faster resolution rates. So just a really quick reminder of the importance of conversations that are had between individuals verbally as opposed to over text or anything. Still very important. So I'll hand it over to Ryan now, who's going to jump into HubSpot calling.
Thank you very much. So the reason why we're starting off with HubSpot calling is you might be aware that HubSpot actually launched their own voice platform a couple of years ago. And depending on the product mix that you've got with HubSpot, this may or may not be included. And when it is included, it comes with a pool of phone numbers and credits to be able to make calls. So we wanted to have a bit of a look at the way that the HubSpot calling works and the way that it logs the calls in HubSpot to really streamline this experience. And if we go back in time a little bit, if you've been a user of HubSpot for a while, you'll remember that the mobile app used to have a function where you would go and you would find the contact that you wanted to ring, and then you'd push the call button in the app. But then what it did was it took you to your mobile to make the call. So when you do that, you don't get a transcription, you don't get reminders of anything that you promised on the call. And then when you finish that call, you have to go back into the HubSpot app to be able to update what the outcome was of the call, and make sure that you put in your notes while you remembered, while they're fresh in your head, which also means you had to remember to go back to the app to do that. Now, that wasn't a great experience, but it worked fine for a bunch of people. And then HubSpot had some issues with the way that was working. They took it out for a little while. And then they came back and they launched this new thing called HubSpot calling. And Lily, if I can just get you to stop sharing your screen for a minute so I can swap in. The HubSpot calling, when it launched, actually came a bit out of nowhere because many people don't know that HubSpot are actually investors in Aircall. And so it surprised us a little bit that they launched their own dialer, but it's a much simpler function than what we're going to show you through today. So this is my test portal here, and this is the call setup options in HubSpot. And what I thought it was useful to start with here is just getting an idea of how this gets set up, so you can understand what you can configure reasonably easily. So you can see here that I've got a phone number that I have configured earlier, and I can edit this phone number. I can delete it, which is probably a bad idea. I can get new phone numbers. There's also a port a number option as well. So if you've got a number that you've used previously, you can port that in to HubSpot. The technical detail here for those interested, I know we often have some techies on the call. HubSpot are using Twilio's backend here, so they need to port that number over. You've got the option to edit your audio messages like your voicemail, your IVR. You can use the AI voices here if they work. By if they work, I mean they will work, but whether they sound too robotic for your usage or not. You can see here as well, I can monitor my minute subscription. So this is our demo portal. So you can see I've only got 10 minutes a month that I can use here. You can monitor this across your organization. And I can also set up my call configurations. So do I want to track call and meeting types, make the call outcome required, set up call recording, turn on the transcription and analysis, which I definitely want. And then this will all flow into HubSpot. And I don't think I've ever had somebody that I've demoed this to that hasn't gone, wow, I did not know that HubSpot could do that. Just reading the fine print here though, I just want to point out, turning on the transcription analysis says, including video calls and calls from third-party integrations like Zoom. So if you monitor your beta functionality in your portal, you'll notice that HubSpot have released their own meetings recorder now. So they will now be able to record and transcribe your meetings and log them against contacts. But I'm just laying the ground here, and maybe spoiler alert for Lily later on, but the transcription analysis here works across any calls that get logged into HubSpot, whether they are Aircall, HubSpot, Cradle, any other voice provider you can think of. HubSpot will be able to take those and bring those in as if they were native. My favorite thing here with the calling as well is this tracked terms concept. So you can add track terms in here so that you, let's say problem, let's say we're going to track HubSpot, and maybe invoice. Now I can track those terms. Every time somebody mentions one of those terms in a call, I will get an email to say, hey, there's a call that you need to review here. A friend of mine says every time somebody in his organization says generic, he wants to hear that recording and he wants to coach that person to make sure that it doesn't get said. So if you've got very specific trigger words that you do want to cover off, you can set those up and off you go. You've got a block numbers list. So we try to monitor our callers and make sure that we block their numbers because they waste a lot of our time. You've got a IVR, the old press 1 for sales, press 2 for support. So you can add a menu and edit your messages in here. It's a pretty basic setup, but you can set that up through the HubSpot calling. And then you've got the transcription and analysis, which is now moved over here. So that's the detail side of setting it up. Now, the cool part about actually operating this, and this is why I'm using my whole screen and I've got that void over on the left-hand side. You see up here in my HubSpot menu, I've got a little phone icon. Now I can click that little phone icon anywhere from within HubSpot and I can make the call from in HubSpot. Now, you will also notice that it says I'm unavailable for inbound calls. The reason I'm unavailable is because I've got my call tab closed. So if I click open the call tab, it pops up over here and I want to leave that open just like I would any other dialing app on my computer. If you've used soft phones in the past, you would have an app similar to that. Now, a couple of cool things about the dialer here. You see here it says from number. So you can choose different numbers to dial out from. So example for us, we have a number in Australia, we have a number in the US, we have a number in the UK. And if we are dialing into any of those countries, we want to make sure that we're using the appropriate number for that country. So you can choose that number and that person will potentially recognize the number that's dialing them. The other thing I like here, and Alice, I decided to pick on you today. I can search the CRM for anybody that I want to contact. And as long as their phone number is in their records in HubSpot, it will pop up. I don't have to go and find the phone number. And this is probably the big thing when we talk to people about dialing. They suddenly realize, hey, actually, I don't need to look for phone numbers anymore. It's my CRM will sync with my dialer and I can organize that. So I can click on Alice's name and then I operate this just like a phone. I'm going to call Alice. The end. Dials Alice. And then now that the call is complete, I need to select my outcome. So in this case, let's say it was busy. Select my call type. If I've got a call type set up, I can take notes on the call. So let's say Alice picked up the phone and answered all my questions. Good job, Alice. And then down the bottom here, it's got a follow-up task. So the follow-up task is great if you didn't get through and you need a reminder to follow them up. And then this is auto-saved. So now just click done. Now what I want to do is go, Alice, here she is. And I look at her contact record and you can see here that I've called her a couple of times. It's logged the calls. It's got the duration. It's got the direction. So whether it was inbound or outbound, I can edit this if I need to edit this. But one of the things that drives sales and support people around the bend, particularly support people when they've got high volumes of calls, is logging every single call independently. So the fact that the CRM can then do that on its own saves everybody a lot of time, energy, headaches, etc. Now, once those calls are logged, you'll also find in the CRM, you've got a calls option, demo portals, there aren't any. So here's one I prepared earlier. This is a call with our electricity provider. Figured this was the safest data I could show people today. Because they bungled something. So somebody had to sit on a phone call with them for 8 minutes. So I get a wonderful log here of this phone call. I get the data here on who spoke at what time. I get who made the phone call, when they made the phone call. Now with the Breeze AI, I get all the call notes here summarized. And you can see this is just their voice message, just repeating messages. I get some nice stats here. And you see it says to me, match the speakers. So I know that this is that speaker. And then this one here is going to be Melissa. So I just want to assign that to Melissa. And now I get some data here on who spoke when. I can go through and see exactly what was said. Now, this is brilliant for coaching sales teams because sales teams can then come to you and go, well, support teams as well. Hey, I had this call. It went really well, I think, but can you listen to the recording and give me some feedback? Or I had this call, it was an absolute disaster. Can you give me some feedback? If the call went really well, you've got this option here to add it to a playlist. So you can set up playlists for your best calls, which is awesome for training new salespeople because they can go in here and access their calls. Equally, you can have a playlist of bad calls, I guess, calls that did not go particularly well. You could do a playlist of calls which were good support calls. You can separate all your playlists out here, create different playlists to share those calls. Because, you know, some people, particularly younger generations, we find they're a bit scared of the phone. They'd rather send a text. But HubSpot doesn't do texting in Australia. Lily might talk a little bit about that potentially, but HubSpot doesn't do text. So we need to make some phone calls, and people like to make phone calls, as Lily's outlined. So we need to make sure that that's available. So we can really get quite deep into how the call worked, how it went. My favorite one here when coaching salespeople is to go, hey, you spoke 94% of the time on this call. You only let the client speak 6% of the time. That's probably why that call didn't go well. They couldn't get a word in. And that's a common one. And then when you point it out and you've got the numbers there, they go, oh my, that's very spot on. So this gets logged in a lot of detail. Spoiler alert, this call actually came in via Aircall, not HubSpot calling, but the interface and the experience is the same. HubSpot assess these the exact same way. And you can see now that I'm online, so it's got a little green dot there. So that's the basic overview of HubSpot calling. It is calling only, but it does integrate very well with HubSpot's help desk so that your inbound calls can get logged in the help desk as tickets. And we're going to go through that shortly, I believe. But with that, I haven't got any questions, so I might hand it back to Lily to talk a little bit about the Aircall calling way.
Let's get into it. Thank you, Ryan. Alrighty. Cool. So Aircall time. Best to first talk about what it is. So we are a leading customer communication and intelligence platform designed specifically for contemporary businesses utilizing cloud CRMs, just like HubSpot. We offer voice, SMS, MMS, and as of most recently, we've also got WhatsApp as communication channels, as well as our strong AI and coaching features. So we're actually HubSpot's #1 voice partner, and that would be due to our strengths of integration into Sales and Service Hub specifically, But it's important to understand that Aircall was and is a purpose-built solution specifically designed for organizations looking for scalable inbound and outbound calling needs. So a quick look at the numbers. We've got over 700 employees, cool. Over 100 integrations, great. But the main thing, and sorry, Ryan's already touched on the investment of HubSpot into Aircall. So HubSpot Ventures, we are very much going to market together. We're developing our products together and enhancing our products together. But the really big thing here with this slide that I want to point out is over a third of our customers actually are HubSpot customers, and that's because of our deep integration. Now, when it comes to Aircall and our strengths, there's a couple of things to note. So we're 100% cloud-based. You can deploy us in minutes. It's great for remote or hybrid teams with loads of flexibility to scale up or down as the business needs change. It can be easily managed without, heavy IT input, not too technical to some degree. We offer reliable global voice quality, local numbers in over 100 countries, so making it ideal for multinational teams, global customer service teams, and an ideal option for businesses looking to break into new markets when they're expanding and they want that regional presence without physical phones. And because conversations, they're pretty much our bread and butter, we have a ton of features designed for high-performing sales and support teams, which we're going to touch on today. We've got call routing, IVRs, warm transfer, voicemail drop, call whispering, coaching, and we're gearing up all of our AI voice agents and other AI offerings as well, such as real-time assistance, which, if time permits, I'll show you today. But wanting to provide that 24/7 coverage when it comes to calling for all of our customers. So we've built a voice platform that connects to all business tools. Another thing to really just note is we're our own platform. So you can look at it as almost a go-between multiple business tools. So let's say you're maybe not 100% with HubSpot, you've still got your support team using Zendesk. We can integrate with both. So again, you're not having to leave either system. Aircall's there alongside your operations in sales and service, be those within HubSpot 100% or out of HubSpot to a certain degree. Now, before I get into just a little demo, who does Aircall and HubSpot serve best? So we see Aircall becoming a real value add within the HubSpot ecosystem across a few key areas. So number one, the main need, of course, is calling. Number two, businesses with one-to-one and SMS use cases, or they're looking for like any automation when it comes to that SMS use case across sales and support. Number three, a business that has an emphasis on call center metrics. They've got an interest in leveraging AI and coaching, and any business really looking to supercharge their sales or service hub. So with those in mind, where we see that we really win in these various areas is number one, with an inbound calling use case, any sort of business with a large volume of inbound calls should really look to consider Aircall. And if they're utilizing Service Hub, this should really be at the top of the list. But really, if they have a high volume of inbound calls that they need to start routing in an efficient and sophisticated way, that's where Aircall would come in. If they need multiple different teams attached to one line, that's where we can support with our smart flows. And on top of that, if they also have a need for real-time call transferring or forwarding, that's when Aircall can support there as well. Secondly, it's important to consider Aircall SMS capabilities, as Ryan kind of touched on. We can take care of that. And most recently, WhatsApp. So we can support interactions with customers across channels now, but keep in mind, point one main need is call handling. So sometimes people will get in touch, they'll have seen that we take care of SMS, a new customer. When I have new customers approaching me saying, "Oh, we want to use, we're looking to, do mass outreach for marketing purposes. You guys offer SMS." If I then got on a call with them and they told me that calling is not a core function of their business, I would probably point them in the direction of another provider for those kind of mass outreach SMS capabilities. So think of us more as a one-to-one than mass outreach in terms of SMS alongside marketing, but it's again to complement the calling capabilities. Third thing, and sort of all-encompassing, of course, is the reporting and call center metrics that we provide. So they come at varying levels depending on how deep and granular you actually want to go with the data, but that's all available. Then we've got real-time coaching and visibility side of things. So if you're a business that has a distributed team or a hybrid model, remote team, some people on the field, managers, they want those insights. They want to know who's making calls, what calls are coming in now, any real-time coaching and collaborating in these calls as well. That's where we can provide dedicated sort of phone solution features and use cases there. And what we have on the roadmap in that area is a bunch of new AI coaching features. So again, if time permits, I'd love to show you a little bit about some of those. One is coming out late July called AI Assist Pro, which is real-time assistance on calls using prompts and playbooks, but more to come. Final two-parter here. So on the last point, any HubSpot users with sales or support use cases that have really high volume of activity and call volume, they can benefit from using our power dialer for outbound activity at speed. But more importantly, any HubSpot users who have really repetitive follow-up processes, whether it's following up on a customer communication or CRM management, or looking to send an SMS after an engagement, that's when we can support with HubSpot workflows. So that's a HubSpot owned product, but we can integrate with that. And then lastly, any business looking to supercharge their sales or service hub and require calling and SMS as a channel really should look to Aircall and consider our interactions with that integration, particularly in help desk. We should immediately be considered. So the reason why I flagged this is because up until recently, Aircall actually was the only third-party calling partner that integrates natively with help desk. So yeah, when it comes to Service Hub and you're looking to supercharge that, things are getting a bit more complex in terms of team structures, calling requirements. A lot of other telephony VoIP providers at the current moment, they do tend to require a more custom development, which can impact go live times. So Aircall, again, we've got that out of the box now. So definitely something worth considering. Cool. All right, gonna just stop sharing and jump in to Aircall. Cool. Alrighty. Got my screen there, Ryan?
Got your screen there, Lily.
Okay, perfect. So a couple of things I want to show everyone today. What we are in right now is the Aircall dashboard. So we have a dashboard and a workspace. So think of the dashboard. This is where the admins will go. This is where the managers will be, and they will be configuring, setting up teams, users, and smart flows for inbound call management. Managers as well and admins will also have access to our live monitoring, analytics for all reporting, AI voice agent, but this is where all the configuration and monitoring and reporting occurs for those admins. I want to just show you how easy it is to set up the integration with HubSpot. So jumping into the number or even creating a number is super simple. So once you have a user license, you jump in, you can create a number. You can select the country. So if I wanted to get a number for, let's go, I'm going to go America, select number type, local, select state, Alabama, why not? And then region, Albertaville, and then I'll have the option to messaging capabilities. I don't need them. I'll just go, I don't need them for the sake of this. Enter your name, Lily US, and then create number. So it's that simple. Then the number will be here. What I'll do though now is just show you how easy that integration looks, and then we'll talk a bit about smart flows. So in the number, I go into integrations. You'll see the setup of WhatsApp can occur here. I've actually got a pre-recorded demo for today because I do not have a business account. But then I go to add an integration, and I scroll down and find HubSpot. Oh,
Hey, H, Lily.
H, we're back. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
Okay.
There we go. All right. So go and connect to HubSpot, and then boom, and then I can configure my settings. So when we're looking at the settings, one thing I do just want to note here is we have a bi-directional contact sync with HubSpot, but here is where I can configure my there we go. Alrighty, so here I can configure my call outcomes and what I want those to look like in HubSpot. We can also customize those. Underneath is the help desk connection, so I can toggle that on to yes. And then I have ticket creation settings. So what do I want to happen? So if there is an outbound answered call, then do nothing in, do not create ticket. So once I select my pipeline, go ahead and save that. That's where I can start to make some changes here as well. And we'll see this all in action very shortly. But a really big thing with Aircall, particularly within HubSpot, is our contact insight card. So our contact insight card, I'll show you in a minute, is what surfaces on every single call. Basically, you can choose the details that you want to display. So detail 1, first name, last name, company name, email, contact owner. I have a choice. I can change that based on properties, but these are the ones that I've decided to go with. Same goes for the company insight card and the deal insight card. Ticket insight card, very similar. I can configure my task closing automations, and then I can also toggle on or off my conversation intelligence. So I just wanted to kind of show you the back end, but really, really simple to get that all set up. And then we can take a look at what that looks like on the HubSpot side once we're over there. This is a line that I don't regularly use. So for the sake of today, I'll jump in and show you my normal mobile. So the first couple of things, let me just get these up. First couple of things I want to talk about is our SmartFlow IVR. So a big thing with Aircall, particularly when people are looking for the more, I guess, comprehensive call routing and configuration, is going over to Aircall and using our SmartFlows. Super easy to set up, not too technical, but it just improves that workflow efficiency for inbound calls. So when I click edit, this gets a bit funny. I can zoom out. So a call comes in. What's the first thing that happens? What I've done is I've set a time rule. So for regular Monday to Friday working hours, it will go through. They will then encounter an IVR. Press 1, speak with sales. I've got our APAC AE team here. Press 2 to speak with support. Got our CSMs here. Press 3 to speak with our BDRs, and then no input would go through to myself. At any other time, so outside of working hours, what I've done is I've added a branch. So over here for that call to be picked up by an AI voice agent, which we can chat about shortly. But in terms of building out this smart flow, super easy. You click here, we've got all these different widgets. So you can configure a date rule, a time rule. You can have an audio message, whether that's something you upload or you record on the spot. The keypad IVR is what creates the branches. You can have multi-layer or single layer IVRs. Waiting experience. Ring to is you're able to select a team or a user for that to ring to. So if you want a call that comes in to just one line, going to multiple users in a team, you would ring to and place a team there. Once a voicemail has been dropped in, that will end the conversation. We then have more advanced features like Ring to via API, where you can build out your own flows. That can depend on things like a contact owner or a specific group from within HubSpot. Ryan may be able to talk to that in a bit more detail. And then our AI voice agent, but super easy to set up. There we go. So if I make any changes here, delete step, any other time, let's go ring to support. There we go, APAC support. Ringing rule randomly, longest dial simultaneously. Ring per agent for 5 seconds, ring for 8. Boom. Cool. So that is the smart flows. Before I move on, any questions? Sorry, I don't have the screen up, Ryan. Hope you're keeping an eye on that.
We just got the Aircall dashboard up still.
Yep, no questions in the chat.
No questions in the chat.
All right, perfect.
One we'll cover off afterwards.
Okay, cool. All right, so SmartFlow IVRs, we've looked at how to go about setting up that integration. What was next on the list? Okay, Power Dialer. So teams with high call volume, repetitive follow-ups, in terms of the high call volume for outbound call activity, what I want to show you guys now is a quick little look at our Power Dialer. Alrighty, cool. So our Power Dialer, understand HubSpot doesn't have something quite like this. So bit of a point of difference. But let's say, and I actually previously was an AE over at HubSpot, so very familiar with the calling capabilities. What I used to do was I would create a list similar to this. I would select them all and then I would add to my task queue, and that's how I would go about executing my calls. But now that I'm using Aircall on the other side of the fence, and let's say I've got this list of contacts, there's 91 records, and I want to call them all. I'm a BDR, I just want to smash my calls out. They say this time is a good time to call. So I will go here, clicking on the extension and go show number panel on pages. And then as you can see in the bottom right, I hope, is the identified numbers. So it's picked up on all the numbers on the screen here. And then as I scroll down, there we go. You can see that number is updating very quickly. So super simple. I go ahead and click Power Dialer. And then what that's going to do, it's going to populate all the valid numbers into a list. I can then open my app. I'm going to open it in the workspace. Cool. Okay, Power Dialer. Alrighty, and then I just click start session, and essentially I will just start to execute on all of those calls.
It's quite the VIP list that you're dialing there, Lily.
Lionel Messi, I know. What's up?
I just we haven't got a question through on the chat. One of the questions I get a lot here is Power Dialer sounds great, but I'm a bit worried about my end of call time. Do you want to talk to how it manages the time that you've got at the end of the call before the next one?
Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
So dialing Power Dialer session, you know, dial one after the other.
Yep.
People worry that they won't have enough time between the calls.
Enough time between calls?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You don't move to the next call until you're done with that first one. But also sorry, I've just done this now. I actually just clicked pause just then. So as I ended the call, I clicked pause up the top because maybe they've told me something incredibly valuable. I want to rush off to one of the AEs and say, hang on, I've just spoken to this person. They said that they met you yesterday at an event and that they're really excited to explore Aircall. Yeah, if I want to in office go do a few tasks, super easy just to pause the Power Dialer. Does that kind of answer the question, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, as you can see, that is currently paused up here. So I'm in a session, there's still 22 numbers to go. I can just go ahead and click play, but what I'm going to do is move on to show you guys the next feature. But just while we're here in the workspace as well, so I'm in Power Dialer, I can see my session is still there. If I jump over to inbox, this is just a very unified view of everything that's kind of going on for me at the moment. And I can, of course, change the size as well. So we were over in the dashboard before. This is the workspace. The workspace is designed specifically for agents. So the dashboard is admin facing. The workspace is for agents. What I can do here is I can look at my conversations. So that's including WhatsApp, SMS, and calls. If I just want to look at my calls, I can then sort through those based on missed calls, voicemails, callbacks that I have queued, follow-ups that require follow-up, etc. So the next thing I wanted to show you guys is the live monitoring. All right. Cool. One little thing I will do now is for sales teams and support teams or any team that has that calling centric nature to the business, naturally managers want to listen to calls, coach their sales teams, and obviously help them improve on calls. So what we have, and probably the coolest feature that I don't believe HubSpot has, especially with what Ryan's covered so far, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, is a feature called call whispering. So I'll go ahead and give myself a call now. All right. Cool. So a couple of things just to note here. I can see my ongoing call here in the workspace. This has floated in the workspace. I've got my insight cards here that we touched on before. So those have been built out for the contact, Russell Coit, All Aussie Adventures. I've got the deal there. And then I'm also connected to Job Adder because that is the applicant tracking system that I use. Like I said before, we feed into a lot of different systems. So it's all that one unified look. While I'm on the call, another thing I just want to point out is I have the ability to transfer either warm or cold. So while I'm on this call, I might want to transfer over to my colleague, Pat. I would go and click Pat Donnelly. Yep, send it to his main number. Transfer now, that would be cold transfer. Talk first, warm transfer. So talk first, fill them in while I'm transferring the call, hand it over from there, or just transfer now straight away. What I want to show you here is over in the Aircall dashboard now, putting my manager hat on, I can see that Lily Watkins is in a call. I can see it's gone for 1 minute, 16 seconds, and I can jump in and actually coach myself on that call. So it's just a simple click of a button, but definitely a really powerful feature and something I don't believe HubSpot currently covers. What we're looking to do as well is really introduce a ton of AI around this coaching functionality. So more to come on that later. Just hang up that call. Cool. So now I've hung up the call, just want to bring you back to the workspace. So what we have is a thing called tags, and this is just so I can now transition over to HubSpot shortly. But you can make these mandatory or not. And we have a lot of tags because this is a big demo environment that we all share. But let's say you have your team, you can select your own unique color. So I could go interested, BDR interested, interested. I can put as many tags as I like. I can then add my notes, looking to secure accommodation for his Northern Territory travel. All right, and then I go ahead and close the conversation. Now over in HubSpot, show you what that looks like. So here we are in HubSpot. Here is Russell, that's my demo agent. Cool. So here we've got the call that's just occurred, 12:13 p.m. When I click into the call, I can see the recording, I can see the tags, and I have my comments there. Now the outcome BDR interested, that's mapped to a custom outcome in HubSpot, hence why it doesn't just say connected or any of the standards, because I've made that, I've mapped that out on the back end. But I also wanted to show you here. So here we've got SMS that I sent myself earlier as well. And then there's also the MMS. Here we go. MMS, which seems to have changed because I could have sworn before it was an image, but we'll have to check on that. But yeah, there's Russell Coit having a really great time during his latest tour up in the Northern Territory. I think I actually got that image and it said South Australian Croc Tours, to be honest. So
Can confirm there's no crocodiles here.
that's, yeah, okay. Cool. So what I just wanted to show you is how the tags go over, how the notes go over, how everything is automatically logged back here to the contact record. Now, this is especially helpful within HubSpot when people are also wanting to build out any kind of workflow related to their calling activity through Aircall within HubSpot. So I'm just going to pull out a couple of workflows that I've pre-built here just to show you all what it's about. So because we do have the SMS capability, we're seeing a lot of value realization here in the workflow feature for, say, follow-up. So patient outreach, once they have, once they've been added to a particular list of patient care, automatically send an SMS and then create a task to then call and confirm that they will be attending that appointment. In terms of CRM management, so again, this is a bit more of a complex workflow that has been built out, but we're using the tag. So last used Aircall tag is equal to, etc. Using those tags to report and create the workflow is something that's also a huge benefit for a lot of people using Aircall within HubSpot. And I'm thinking, conscious of time, last but not least is help desk. So this is something. All right. So Pat, my colleague over in New York, he loves The Simpsons. His demo character is Seymour Skinner. But I just wanted to show everyone here that you can cover all bases now in help desk through using Aircall. We can take care of SMS, calls, emails, all in that one channel, and don't have to even leave HubSpot. You can continue the conversation from within here and then configure those settings on the back end in terms of what triggers a new ticket, what triggers the closure of a ticket, etc. And then I'm thinking, anything else that comes to mind for you? I'm just conscious of time, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll just quickly demo the CLI.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And show how that works for us.
Awesome.
And I think that'll be helpful. So, I know I just mentioned a bunch of jargon, but that's okay. So we're in our portal now, not a demo portal, so this is all real. You can see up the top here, I've got my calling icon. It's got a little cross next to it. That's because my calling window is closed. You also notice up here it says Aircall. So you can turn on HubSpot and Aircall at the same time. They have different numbers and make different calls. I've just turned this on for demo at the moment. We usually turn it off to avoid confusion for people. So this is how native the experience is in HubSpot. So I click on that and then it shows me the HubSpot and the Aircall logos up here. And now that I've got this open, I'll get calls coming through here. So in this case, I've got the conversations inbox up. I can go and select a number that can SMS, and I can send an SMS to somebody. I can also change this to calls and just see my calls. It's been extremely handy since the SMS rollout to be able to have all of the communication in one place. Before Aircall had SMS, we would try to support people over SMS using another tool that would log those SMSs against the contact record, but it was hard to actually surface them for people. And that was a challenge. So I've got this all set up now. One of the things that you can do here is set up your availability based on your work schedule. So we have a lot of people here that work part-time or flexible hours. They'll set their schedule in advance, so they don't have to worry about getting calls after hours. Because one of the things I don't think we've really touched on, Lily, is the calling experience here. I mean, for us, we get people to use the soft phone on their computer with a headset, or they can use the mobile app. I probably use the mobile app 90% of the time.
Same.
And so when that mobile call comes through, it looks kind of like a call, like a normal call coming through my phone, but it's clearly labeled that it's an air call and it's coming through on a specific line, so I can answer it accordingly. And I know that with the scheduled work hours, it won't actually come through when I'm playing with my daughter on a Saturday or something like that. It's not going to interrupt family time. And so for a lot of people, this kind of takes away the need to have company phones, because they're just another thing that people can drop or lose or smash or whatever. It's a lot easier if they've got one phone and they know that those calls can come through. So now on desktop, we would use the soft phone. If you use the soft phone, that enables that help desk integration. As you can see here that we've got the help desk set up with the different channels. They're all labeled with the number that's coming in from Aircall. And that means that those numbers coming through will automatically generate a new ticket. People can log the activity against that ticket, and the contacts will be named as they come through as well. So that dialer, you know, you're not actually getting that dissimilar an experience compared to HubSpot dialing now. If you use that dialer, it all looks quite native, even though Lily warns me that there's an update coming shortly.
I hear it's good.
It's good?
Yeah, it's going to be. Anyways, won't speak ahead of time in case something changes. But previously, it's been in, then it's been out, then it's been in. So who knows where it's going to be? But it's got to be. It's got to be improving.
One other thing I wanted to touch on briefly is we had a question about the usage limitations and the pricing for HubSpot calling. And this is probably one of the reasons why a lot of people consider HubSpot calling. HubSpot have added in a pool of minutes into some of their plans. So if you're on a starter plan, which I know Toby mentioned that he was, you get 500 minutes included call time, and that's shared across all users and all HubSpot products. So if you have a look through the pricing page on the HubSpot website, which is what this is, it'll say 500 minutes on the sales side, 500 minutes on the support side, but that's actually 500 minutes per account. If you go up to professional, you get 3,000 minutes of calling per month. So it is tempting to go, all right, well, HubSpot are throwing this in, let's have a crack. But you probably need to consider what you're actually trying to do with your calling before you roll that out. Because it's a lot easier to get things set up and not have to port numbers. So if we get it set up the right way from the start, then we don't have to port those numbers back and forth between different tools later on. If you are dealing with multiple countries, that would be another thing that I would look into before you decide on a calling tool. Aircall have actually got in their help and support section, they've got a document on the different requirements for different countries. There is a bunch of countries where Aircall can set a number up for you without any additional documentation. which is super easy. But then there is a bunch of countries where they have more stringent requirements. So that will be more difficult to get up and running. On the Aircall side, do you want to talk through your pricing, Lily?
Yep. Where's it gone? Cool. So I guess something that is quite similar between Aircall and HubSpot is we're pretty transparent when it comes to the pricing of our packages. So public facing pricing page here. So you're looking at an essentials or professional plan. Minimum is 3 licenses for either plan. We start to charge based on consumption for things like SMS, as well as AI voice agent, which we didn't have time to touch on today. But AI voice agent will be charged based on the minutes the agent is handling calls, and SMS is per SMS. Other add-ons include AI Assist, or as I said, AI Voice Agent. So $1.49 per minute, as you can see, pretty clear there. WhatsApp, still something coming soon. We can look into that maybe at another session as well. But in terms of, I guess, the minutes, it really depends on what bundle you're looking at. So we have a world bundle, we have bundles for specific regions, so Southeast Asia, North America, Australia, New Zealand. So yeah, it really just depends on where you're going to be placing calls. But in terms of receiving calls, that's typically unlimited.
Great, thank you.
Pleasure.
Have anybody got any more questions while we've got everybody on the call? So on the HubSpot side, if you've already got that set up, like as part of your plan, you can go into HubSpot and set up a test number and start to run some trials, play around with your IVR, see how that all works for you. On the Aircall side, they do a trial period. So you can go onto their website, you can sign up for a trial, you can connect that all to HubSpot and see how that will work as well. My advice, recommendation here would be the more complex that your calling requirements are, and Lily touched on this before, the more you probably want a solution like Aircall as opposed to something like HubSpot. They'll tell you this as well because they're pretty upfront about what their tool can and can't do. Also, I think salespeople doing high volume outreach, that power dialer becomes quite essential. So those two things are probably the main criteria that make us recommend Aircall over HubSpot calling. But definitely SMS comes into it as well because it's significantly easier to have conversations over SMS when you've got it in that app and it's quite easy to manage. We haven't had any more questions come through, Lily. So do you have anything else that you want to mention before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think just as you've said, just having SMS kind of complement the calling, and of course WhatsApp all in that one channel, just makes things a lot easier in terms of tracking the conversation, reaching a resolution time. One thing I did miss is the power dialer. It's not just within HubSpot that it picks up on the numbers. You could do a Google search, you could be on LinkedIn, you could be on any page, and it will pick up on whatever numbers are valid on that page. You can add it to your session. You can continue to build on that session. So you can visit one website, another website, a Google sheet, what have you. So it is a really powerful tool. But yeah, we didn't have time to touch on all the AI, but strap in because we do have a lot of AI coming out. AI Assist Pro will be going to market towards the end of July, and our AI voice agent is already live, so definitely check it out. And if you need help implementing anything, Ryan's your guy.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Lily. We'll wrap up there, but if anybody's got any more questions, then feel free to email us or contact us on the social pipes. Just info@refuelcreative.com.au. I'll be happy to put you in touch with Lily if you want to have a chat about Aircall as well. But thank you very much for your time today, Lily. That's been awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I will speak to everybody soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.